Well, hello. Hi, thanks for joining me. My name is Natalie Dauge. I've traded an almost 20-year career in the field of psychology and mental health to teach you everything I know about astrology and occult philosophies. Let's talk about our astrology weather report for the week. Before we get into the full moon in Gemini, which is really the main course this week, I first want to talk about the placements for this week so we can get a flavor of the energies in the air. And let's just say it's a little bit spicy as we are currently in Sagittarius season. As you know, Sagittarius is a mutable zodiac sign and it is also a fire sign. So what you're going to get is a burst of energy. Whether good or bad, it really depends on your mindset. So let's look at some of the most prominent placements. So we have the sun in Sagittarius. We have the moon in Gemini. We'll talk some more about that a little bit later. We have our Mercury in Sagittarius. This is where all this spice is going to be, okay, in our mouths this week. We have Venus in Libra, Mars in Sagittarius. That's another element of spice that's coming in this week. And then, as you know, we currently have Jupiter in Taurus, which is retrograde. We have Saturn in Pisces, which you know about that. It's going to be there until 2026. We have Uranus in Taurus. You've known about that, which is retrograde. Neptune in Pisces, which is retrograde. You've known about that as well. And Pluto is still in Capricorn. As you know, Pluto is going to transition to Aquarius at the beginning of the new year. North Node is currently in Aries. We also have our Chiron in Aries and our Lilith in Virgo. So these are the prominent placements this week. The thing that I want you to pay attention to is the stellium effect that's happening with Sagittarius. And for those of you who are not familiar, a stellium in astrology is having 3 or more placements or 3 or more houses that have a similar sign, okay? So having Sagittarius both at the sun, at the Mercury, and at the Mars indicates a lot of Sagittarian energy. And anytime you have a stellium, whether that is in your personal natal chart or in general, in terms of like the astrology of the day, you're going to have an overabundance of that energy. Sagittarian energy is outgoing, it is communicative, it's friendly, it's generous, and it's definitely very expensive. You know, it's definitely very premium energy. Sagittarius is generally very generous energetically. Wherever you have Sagittarius in your chart is a part of your chart where you were born to experience a lot of expansion, a lot of growth. So keeping that in mind, I want us to contrast that with this moon in Gemini. You know, for those of you that are into manifestation, I want to remind you that the full moon is not when we set new intentions. The full moon is when we take stock of information, data that we need to gather about how things have been going so that we can adjust our process moving forward, okay? So as you know, the new moon that we just had recently, right, in the sign of Scorpio was a time for us to plant new seeds. And the theme for that new moon was around finding stability and finding true resources. In other words, what do we need to truly feel stable in our lives? You know, not just outer things, but also inner things. What do we need to remove in ourselves and in our environment and in our circumstances to create more stability? What do we need to start so that we can create more long-lasting stability, which is really what Taurus and Scorpio are about. You know, Taurus and Scorpio are not interested if what you have to offer them does not have true sustenance. They need it to be sustainable. So now that you've set those goals, presumably, and it's now 2 weeks out, this full moon is giving you an opportunity to observe what is essentially getting in the way of you doing that. And we're all being asked to use Sagittarius and Gemini energy to gather information, acquire information. One predominant theme of the Sagittarian, Gemini axis is around communication. As you know, Gemini rules the lower mind and Sagittarius rules the higher mind. What I mean by that is that both of these signs are highly intelligent, okay? When you look at the most intelligent zodiac signs, both of these signs are going to be present. In the case of Sagittarius, it's because Sagittarius rules the 9th house, which is the house of education, of information, of higher learning. This is why many Sagittarians are, scholars, students. A lot of Sagittarians also in religion because Sagittarius rules the higher mind. Sagittarius, it's about blending together this kind of physical and spiritual knowledge and finding truth within that. So for Sagittarius, knowledge takes a bit of a global philosophical outlook because the point of information is to connect with the world. Both of these signs have information to share with others, and that is why they were sent to Earth. In the case of Gemini, being ruling the lower mind, is Gemini has an accurate understanding of human nature and the human experience. This is why Gemini is such a funny zodiac sign, is because the observations that Gemini makes about people are uncanny. They're right on the nose. It's very crystal clear, what the joke is, because Gemini has been paying attention. So for Gemini, the truth, the wisdom for them is being able to derive, the meaning from the human behavior, the human cycles, the cycles that humans get caught up in. Gemini can easily see like the ridiculousness of it all, and Gemini can quickly point out what are some of the fallacies in our thinking that are causing us to get stuck in these cycles that are unproductive. So Gemini's wisdom or knowledge comes from deeply examining what is in the physical realm, being able to gather from that what is the truth, and then extract that in a way that is palatable and present it to humans in a humorous way, or sometimes in a serious way. And Sagittarius does the same thing, but they also appeal to the human's higher consciousness by asking them to kind of raise the bar on themselves with regards to their sense of ethics and code of ethics and morals and behaviors, and thinking of ourselves as spirit beings, not just humans that are in the physical realm, thinking about karma and the implications of our behavior in the spiritual realm. So this kind of dichotomy of like, what do I know to be true for sure in terms of this tangible thing in my hand, and what can I speculate from that based on what I feel in my gut, is really what the whole Sagittarius Gemini axis is about. It's about higher learning and lower learning coming together to find the truth, which is somewhere in between. This may explain why Sagittarius, as the explorer of the zodiac, is very focused on international travel. Many Sagittarians love traveling internationally, speak different languages, are very interested in other cultures, and Gemini is very interested in what's happening in their immediate environment, okay? So this full moon is going to illustrate for us areas of our lives where we haven't been speaking the truth to ourselves or to other people, areas in our lives where we have not been venturing out, to gather new information, to gather new resources, areas of our lives where we have not been using our creativity and our spirituality to tune into what is true. Both of these signs are very obsessed with the truth, not in the sense of shaming others about not telling the truth, but of knowing what is and what isn't. Because they're very hungry for information, it's important to them that the information that they have be accurate. This is why they spend a lot of time talking to people, getting to know people that are from different cultures, getting to know people that are different from them, so that they make sure that their viewpoint and their attitudes about life are fine-tuned into the future, because they're very interested in what is true, and what is true, as is timeless. The zodiac signs that are going to be mostly impacted by this full moon are going to be Gemini, Sagittarius, as well as Pisces and Virgo. Do not be surprised if you have some huge news or revelations that come out to you over the next couple of weeks that rock your world. This is designed to get you moving in the right direction in terms of adjusting, your attitude, your mindset, your belief system, your behavior, so you can get more in line with what you're here to manifest in this realm. My hope for you is that at the end of the next couple of weeks, you better gain more confidence, more optimism, more humor, more creativity, and found the courage to move forward with some of the goals that you've set for yourself, because ultimately the power to create is within us and we own that power. So it's up to us how we want to utilize it to make the world a better place. What do you think? How are you feeling this week?